Welcome to On Time for Mom Time, where you are right on time. We are your hosts. I'm Brittany Pelletz.
And I am Stacie Lopez. We are excited to welcome another one of my friends. I got a lot of mom friends here in Abilene, Miss Maddy Miller. First of all, thank you for joining us
Welcome.
today.
Thanks for having
me.
And we're going to start this podcast out because this is totally motherhood. You've had a lot of things going on today, a lot of moving parts to get you here. Tell us kind of how your morning's been.
Yeah, my husband was supposed to originally just go to work today, and my daughter woke up with a stomach bug, so that was not fun. She was originally supposed to go to a friend's house for a play date while I was here. That pivoted. He was able to come home at lunchtime and watch them, but originally I was also texting friends and saying, is anybody able to come watch my kid?
Reaching out for the lifelines.
But thankfully he was able to come home, so that is just classic mom life, I feel like.
And he is part of our military.
Yes.
That is our theme today is
Military moms and families.
Yes.
And you are a mom of two.
Yes.
Tell us about your kiddos.
Yes. So I have a 4-year-old. Her name's Elise, and he turns 2 next month, Mason. So 4 and 2 almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got your hands full. And
Yeah.
I hope your little one feels better, by the way. 'cause
I
the
hope so,
stomach
too.
bug is no fun.
She already feels like, that happened this morning, and I feel like she's already bouncing back.
She's
So,
already ready to
like,
go.
yeah,
That's
I'm
good
like,
in
love that
some
for
regard.
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
love that for you. No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yes. So talk to us about you and your husband have been
Yes.
married for how long?
Yeah. So we got married in 2019. So just this June, we celebrated 6 years. He's in the Air Force. So we got married right after he graduated from the Air Force Academy. He graduated there in 2019. And we've kind of been all over since then. We've been in Oklahoma, we've been in Arkansas, and now we're here in Texas, but getting ready to move in like 3 months.
Wow. That's
yeah.
a big
We both were
mental-
like, wow, that's a lot of movement.
It is a lot of movement.
We've had the privilege, of course, living in this area and being so close to Dyess Air Force Base,
Right.
of knowing many families who have come and gone. And, we hear these stories. We're part of the reunions and all these
Mhm.
things, but it's still just as mind-blowing as the first time I ever heard of the dynamics and the logistics of what goes into, you're 3 months
Mhm.
from moving.
Yeah.
So, do you have a place to live and you know those parts yet? And
It's very chaotic right now. We're also moving overseas. So we're moving to Germany.
big deal. Wow.
Which is super exciting. That was our first choice. So
But also
we're
I'm sad.
thrilled. Yes. I mean,
know.
I am also sad because Abilene has I feel like we grew up here. Like
Yeah.
we brought our daughter here from Arkansas when she was 2 months, 3 months. So I feel like as a family, we've just grown up here and really
Aw.
gotten connected with a really good community here. And so it's very, very bittersweet to leave. But yeah, it's just kind of chaos right now. Trying to figure things out. We won't know where we are living until we get there. So
Wow.
How do you
We'll
do that
be-
with kids? I mean, how do you prepare them? They're little, obviously, so they don't know the
Yeah.
full spectrum of this. But how do you explain that,
yeah,
especially to your older daughter? Like, hey, we're moving to Germany. Mommy,
Yeah.
what's Germany?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a whole thing. And we actually, 2 of our best friends just moved 2 weeks ago all the way to Japan, and they have been in our life.
Mhm.
We're spending like every day with them practically. And that's a really hard concept to explain to her being so young. But we just talk about how we're going to be able to talk to them on the phone a lot, do a lot of videos, send pictures. I don't know if you guys have heard of the app Marco Polo, but it's like
Yes.
video messages. Yeah. So we do that with family and friends and whatnot. And yeah, moving, I think, is just a concept for her to grasp in general, because she thinks that when we move, we're also taking our entire house with us. Like, we're going to pack up
Aw.
her door and her room and all that. And so it's a hard concept to explain, but I feel like it'll get that much harder as she gets older.
Mhm.
And she has friends and
Relationships
stuff here, but they're so little that it's like she just makes friends wherever, and it's super
Exactly.
easy. So yeah, we talk about it a lot and try and simplify it as much as we
Prepare 'em.
can. Yeah.
how long is that flight? Especially with
Oh,
littles. I don't
gosh.
even know.
I
how
think
to
it's
do
I
like-
that.
didn't even think about the flight.
I
just
think
getting
it's
there.
like 13 or 14 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
So long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? What are you
So-
gonna do to keep them busy?
I don't know. My 4-year-old watches movies, so that's easy.
helpful.
My almost 2-year-old wants nothing to do with any sort of TV, which I feel like is a blessing and a curse at this time.
Yes.
I'm like, I really need you to be able to watch a movie
To
by the
occupy
time we
some
move.
of the
Yeah.
hours.
And so I don't know. We're just gonna pray a lot and hope.
Good
and-
place to start.
Yes, and I just I feel like I have the mindset of I'm just going to expect it to be chaotic, and then if it
Anything
goes
will be-
better, that's awesome. But at the end of the day, we'll be in Germany and we'll be there and it'll be fine and we'll get there, but it'll probably be kind of rough in the process.
You will
So,
get through it as you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back though, even early on. So you've known your husband, at least sounds like, since high school.
Yes.
And knew that this was the path that he was pursuing of serving this country. I guess talk to me about what might have you talk to us about what your expectations of becoming a military wife might have been to what you're actually experiencing and living
Right.
now.
Yeah. So him and I were good friends all of high school, and I always knew that he wanted to go to the Air Force Academy and that he wanted to be a pilot. So he flies C-130s at Dyess right now. And always knew that was his path. And when we started dating right before we graduated high school, so friends all of high school, and then started dating right before we graduated. And he left for basic at the Air Force Academy a month and a half after we started dating. So we did long distance for three and a half years. And then I went out to Colorado Springs, and before I started staying home with my kiddos, I taught. And so I did student teaching out in Colorado. We didn't know what the dynamics were going to look like after he graduated. So I was like, I'm going to get connections out there with teaching. So I did my student teaching out there. And I feel like I don't really know what expectations I had. I knew that we were probably going to move a decent amount, which has proven accurate. But I feel like until I had kids, I don't think I really saw as many of the trials and like how difficult it can be, because there's so many more dynamics to work around when you have kids and you're away from family and you're away from friends and you're starting over somewhere fresh and have literally no community. And so my expectations were, yeah, he's probably going to be gone some. We're going to move a lot, but I really didn't know what it was going to look like. One, until I had kids, because we knew we wanted kids, but also until he actually got into his airframe of C-130s, because up until then it was just kind of he's going through training and we're doing this, that, and the other, and there wasn't any sort of set lifestyle yet. But now we know what his airframe kind of looks like and what that tempo looks like for what he needs to operate at and all that. But yeah, those were my only expectations really, as far as we're going to move a lot and he's going to be gone.
And he was. He just did 6 months?
6 months.
He was gone for 6 months, a deployment.
Yeah.
And I think we have that video soon.
We do have the video of his homecoming,
Yeah.
and I know so many emotions. Brittany always talks about this, but no matter how many times we see a homecoming video, it's instant tears.
Oh, yeah.
I literally was crying as I was sending this video to be shared today. And I'm like, and we hadn't even met before today, you know? And that's just how, I mean, what we can say we love about this country of like, we're so proud to have our military men and women such as your husband. And it's just such a, we can, you know, as moms and families, seeing them reconnected, because there's so many sacrifices that we can say we know happen, but I mean, you're the one actually living and having that separation, and you know, and so how long was the deployment?
6 months.
6 months.
Yes.
Okay, wow. That's talk to us about that window of time. You know, it's coming, in theory, and then it happens. Like, is it day to day? Does it go by quicker than you thought? Longer than 6 months?
Yeah, I think it ranges each day. Some days feel like they fly by, some weeks feel like they fly by, and some days feel like they are literally never going to end and you will never see the end of the 6 months. It's also such a concept to watch Mason. He had just turned one. He turned one in December of last year. And by the time he comes back, it's September and his birthday's in December. So he's way closer to 2 than he is to 1, and he's like a whole new kid now. And so that is a lot to process because he missed out on so much time with him, and he grew so much during that time. But also for my 4-year-old, she understands more that dad was gone, and so there was a lot of emotions with that. And so it all just ranges day to day, and some days you feel super defeated and some days you feel like, oh my gosh, I got this in the bag. I've doing it. But I just tried to keep the mindset of every day is one day closer. And we had like sticky notes on the wall that everybody would take off.
Oh, I love that.
And so that was a good way, I think, for my 4-year-old to actually visualize dad was going to be home once all of the sticky notes were gone. And so I think that helped her process it too. But definitely it ranges. There's lots going on.
So is there like an adjustment period? I know a lot of military people talk about this. He was gone for 6 months. The kids have changed. They have different things they've learned. What's that adjustment period like for them coming back? I'm like, Dad's home, we're excited. But then it's also weird because Mom has literally been in charge every day, and now Dad's back. And how does that dynamic work?
Yeah, it's honestly, I think it depends, because I feel like in my head, I made it out to it was going to be so much harder than it was. And some days it was, and sometimes it wasn't. But in military life, a lot of people call it reintegration. So we're reintegrating him back into our daily routine. And routines have changed now that he's gone because, like you said, I'm doing things that maybe we were sharing the load of before. And so it's kind of also hard to let go and let him step in, because I was the sole person for 6 months doing all the things. And he's more than capable of doing them, obviously, because he's done it before that. But that was a hard thing for me, is to let go of that control. And a hard thing for my kids too was to adapt back into, hey, Dad's going to do bedtime tonight, or Dad's going to do bath tonight. And it's just kind of a learning curve. We just kind of took it day by day. But yeah, it's just a learning curve. And we have a lot of just conversations about it, and a lot of conversations with the kids about it and whatnot, of what to expect. And like, Dad is home now. So now Dad gets to play a part in these roles, even though you're not used to that. But it's definitely an adjustment.
What about, describe maybe, or do you have any other military in your family? Like, did anyone in your family, or this is?
My grandpa served in the Marines, but other than that, not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what about the pride that hopefully comes with what your husband does? Like, how has that either evolved, seeing him wear a uniform, know what he stands for, where he's going, what he's doing, and how he...
Yeah. I mean, I beam with pride. I'm so proud of him, and knowing the person that he is, and the way that I know he shows up to work and serves not only in the country, but just serves all the people around him. Like, he's always the person that just goes above and beyond to do things for people. And so then when I view that in the bigger picture of, oh my gosh, you're literally in the military and you're taking all of these amazing traits and doing it for our country. But especially seeing how difficult deployment is, obviously for me, but it's hard for them too. And seeing how he navigates that with still doing his best to stay positive, and it makes me that much more proud. It's truly a special feeling, because like you guys said, you cry when you see a homecoming video. Yes. And so I'm so proud of him, because I've always been emotional about those sort of things, but now I'm realizing the sacrifices that go into that, and what that looks like day to day, and what truly a big sacrifice and commitment he makes every day. And so I've always been proud of him, but I feel like every year it just, I don't know how your pride grows for that, but it definitely does. Yeah.
How do you explain it to your kids on what Dad does on a daily basis? Do they grasp that concept yet? Do they see the C-1? I mean, the C-130s fly over every day in Abilene. Hey, Daddy gets to fly those. How do you talk to them about that?
Right before I came here, there were 2 that flew right over our house, and
you can't miss them.
No, you can't. And my daughter knows it's the C-130. Dad flies that. It is really funny though, because sometimes, up until probably the last few months, she realizes, oh, other people can also fly the C-130.
Otherwise, everyone is hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
She's like, oh, look. And they know it's Dad's plane. My son thinks every plane is Dad's plane. So, but yeah, we just talk about, okay, you see that plane flying in the sky? Like, the person that is flying it, that's what Dad's job is. And they've been on his plane, and obviously seen him fly the plane in from deployment and whatnot. But they're so excited about Dad's plane all the time, which is so sweet. Yeah, cool. It is cool. Yeah.
Talk to me. You already talked about how much you've loved Abilene. It'll be sad to leave, and this is where your first child grew up, and the other one was born here.
Right.
But what else have you liked about or seen? What's the response been in a military community like this of how they've either welcomed your family or?
Right. Dyess is a very supportive place of military community, which is the best. Or Abilene, that's what I meant to say. And we have grown so much here, and there's been so many events where they put on for military, and we just feel so loved, but also so many different communities, like where I met Stacie with Momco, very supportive of military and military families. Even just taking my daughter to dance and gymnastics, and there's so many other military families that go to these things, and making those connections and such. It's a very nice place to be, and it's so family oriented that it has been wonderful for this to be like our true first military experience with kids. We have felt nothing but loved and supported, honestly.
I love that
it's been great.
Feel that because I have observed over the years like the most heartwarming moments, like randomly in a parking lot of like a really young gentleman going up to a former member of the military wearing a hat of sorts and just going to shake his hand and saying thank you for his service. I've seen countless times at restaurants in town of seeing somebody like try to talk to the waitress and say like, I'm taking care of the meal and seeing it go on and then seeing their face like, what,
I'm paying for my meal.
And it's just, I mean, granted, this is the only military town that I've lived in, but I mean, I've seen it so many times. So I'm so happy that you feel that love and support that, we see a glimpse of every now and then.
I love to, when they do the air shows, because they do air shows every year. Yeah. And every year it rotates between the airport and Dyess. And it's always cool to go to the one at Dyess and see the like whole Abilene community there, and everyone's just so excited to be there and is so grateful for what's going on. And that's a really cool thing to witness because we see these planes, every day. But it's always neat to see everyone else so excited about it and honestly supporting it too and whatnot. So it's really special.
And Maddy, I want to talk too just about, we've talked a lot about the good things and the good side of this, but you sacrifice too. Like your husband sacrifices because it's his job.
Right.
But you're sacrificing time with your family and just all the things that come with being a military wife and a military mom. Talk about the community that you've really actually helped build too. You're really good at that. Just talk about the community and kind of those struggles that you've been through and how you have those people to lean on and they know what you're going through.
Right. One thing, I think the biggest thing that I have learned through deployment and just military life, being in a new place that I don't know anybody, is that every place is what you make of it. Before this, we were in Arkansas for training, but before that, we were in a super tiny town in Oklahoma that there's literally nothing to do. But we had an amazing time because we put ourselves out there and got connected with people and formed a community. And that's the biggest piece of advice I feel like we've gotten from anybody that knew we were getting into this military life is make the most of wherever you're at, because you could be in a really awful place, but you can still get connected with amazing people and have an amazing time. And so that's kind of just the mindset that I have kept through it all is I could be miserable here by myself, or I can put myself out there and actually form community. And that is truly the only thing that got me through deployment, because I could text somebody and ask for help or ask them to watch my kids so I could go do this, that, and the other. But it's also hard to do that because sometimes it's uncomfortable to put yourself out there or it's uncomfortable to ask for help.
Oh, yeah. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
We're bad at that, Mom.
It's so hard. But it's the biggest thing that I have learned is so I get super involved in the squadron, in the events that are going on base, and looking for outside things like Momco to plug myself into, or different groups at churches and all that. Getting connected with events in my neighborhood. Like
she's
just
part of the mom walk too. We had your daughter on the mom walk.
I've been to several of those, which is hard to go. The first one I went to, I didn't know anybody yet. And so that's
you for putting yourself out there.
That's hard to go to. She had one this morning that I was planning on going to, but then my daughter got sick.
Had other plans, yes.
And so, that's the hard part is putting yourself out there, but I have seen it benefit not only me, but my husband, but my kids, by forming that community and just really clinging together, because that's truly the only way that you make it through some days, because your family and your friends from back home are so far that they would love to be there, but it just doesn't work out. Yeah.
Talk to me about, I'm assuming there's a comfort level with connecting with other military moms because they're sharing experiences that you are. But obviously, Stacie, you made other friends who are not military, but just the dynamic of either the value of having both and kind of what you found so far in your journey of motherhood.
Yeah. When we first moved here, we were the first people in our friend group to have kids. And so that was hard for a while because I didn't have anybody that I was really mom friends with. Yeah. And so I kind of had to put myself out there to get connected in different ways, to meet people that had kids that weren't military. And I think it's a cool thing, because sometimes I think that we get so in our bubble of this is how everybody lives and we all do this. But it's always nice to have the same perspectives as people, even though they're not in military life, seeing that, oh shoot, yeah, your kid's not sleeping either. It's a struggle. How many cups of coffee have you had today? And it's just, sometimes also it's just refreshing to have those connections too, because military life has so many things that come with it, and sometimes you just want kind of just a step back from that. And so that's always refreshing too, to have those other friends that you feel like you're not constantly talking about military life,
and yet we're the ones making you talk about it.
Like, that's okay. That's
all
okay.
the things military.
Yeah, that's okay. So it's nice to have both options. Military is great because they know what you're doing, they know what you're going through each day. It's a lot easier probably for them to know what you need. But it's also really refreshing to have friends that aren't military too. And it's nice to just have a variety of people in your corner. So
yeah, I think it's so valuable even for non-military families to have those connections with military families. One, for the glimpse of what life looks like, but it's just so much educational. I remember we just moved back recently from Florida, and for my kids, it was really dramatic. And I had this moment of remembering, like, they're just moving from a state to the state that they were born in.
Right.
And they're going to know people. They already have family and friends there.
Right.
And the job situation is not the same caliber.
Right.
So it's eye-opening to be like, this is something that so many, thank goodness for our brave men and women who serve this country in many ways, who do this.
Right.
So it's just, it's little glimpses come here and there, but it's always refreshing talking to, people like yourselves to provide that perspective.
So how do you think being in this military community and just being a part of the military has shaped your motherhood?
I think that it has shown me what I am capable of, and it has shown me how strong I am, because it's like we've said, there's so many sacrifices and things that come with it. But I truly think it's pushed me to my limits that much more, because motherhood in general does that to you.
Oh, yeah. Every day.
Yes. Sometimes I'm like, oof. So it pushes you to your limits, and it has humbled me in the same way of, I can't do this all on my own. So I turn to a lot of my community, and I give a lot to Jesus, because couldn't do that without him. But it's shown me what I'm capable of. It's shown me when to ask for help when I can't carry things on my own. But it's also shaped, I think, what I want to teach my kids, and really how to have conversations with them and open conversations with them about things, with so much change happening all the time. And just teaching them that much more how to be resilient, because military kids are so resilient.
Unbelievable. Adaptability.
Yes. And so it has shown me different perspectives and ways to grow. But overall, I was thinking about it on the way here. I was like, I can't believe how much I've done in the last several years. And I think that military life pushes me to do those things and pushes me to be uncomfortable. So then I'm able to grow, not only as a person, but in motherhood as well. So
I love that.
We have to give a shout out for your vlogging though. She's a vlogger.
Oh yes,
Oh my
let's tell
gosh.
your socials so that they can
When did
find
you start doing that? You started
When COVID happened, I was teaching, and it was my first year of teaching, and we went virtual. And I got connected with I was using products, but then got connected with like the actual brand and started repping them. And so I got really into using social media and promoting that. But also now I share like toddler activities that I do at home with my kids, military spouse things, and just all the things that kind of are under my umbrella of life. But that's kind of when I started, was 2020, because we went virtual for teaching, and I was like, sure, what the heck, why not? Because I'm at home right now anyways, and everything's shut down. So
big outlet.
Yeah.
So tell people the names so they
your
can find you.
Oh my gosh.
or TikTok. You do both, right?
Yeah, I just recently got on TikTok. Like my user,
Yeah.
Maddy Miller with 4 S's in Mads. That's my
You can
user.
probably link it in this article.
I was like, I think that's my user on both of them. But
Okay.
When
I
you
know
we
it's
put her
hard.
on the
With,
spot. She's like, wait,
what
what
are my
my
names?
username?
it's like,
But, well, they'll find you.
Yeah.
And we'll help.
find
We'll help
you.
them.
Thank you.
Too. But
Thank you.
we thank you for being here today
Thank
and
you.
just being so open and honest
Yeah.
about your journey. And of course, we wish you well and safe travels
Thank you.
on the first 13-hour flight,
Yes.
and then beyond that
yes.
while you're in
Thank you.
Germany. But
We only have you till what, January?
Yeah,
Maybe?
we leave the first week of February, most likely.
Okay, so through January.
through the holidays, you'll be here and get
Which
to
I'm glad
enjoy.
we'll be here through the holidays, because that would have been sad to not be here.
So you'll
Yeah.
have a fresh start into the new year. We wish your husband well. We thank him
you.
for his service.
Thank you.
And look, of course, we can stay connected now that
Yeah.
we'll
On Instagram.
be connected on all of the
Yeah.
social media platforms.
Yeah.
I love watching her videos. They're good.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited
I
to
appreciate
check
that.
them out.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks
Yes.
for having me, you guys.
Absolutely. And we want to thank you for joining us, of course, week after week. We really have enjoyed, all the moms we've had on here. Next week, we have a special guest from the Abilene Public Library who's a mom. She'll be talking a lot about programs and activities that people can participate here with their children, and to just learn a little bit more about what life is like for her as a mom and working for the library.
It's going to be a good one. I cannot wait.
It'll be a good time. So make sure you tune in each week, because every mama's story is worth telling. Until next time, we'll see you then.
See you then.